Yan Santos one is all in Tia, like Jimia, was also. With that, the boy Jimia, go with that, Unimia, Minimia, they can for two for the TV amount.
Came by the president, and then also what important issues will be tackled on his itinerary this morning. And if Ghpage is ready, we'll give us the latest update on that. We'll try. Okay, so Ghpage, so far, what is on the itinerary apart from the 2 sessions we've seen so far from the office of the president?
Roland, even before we do that, there's a breaking news that's just coming in from the office of the president, revocation of appointment. And this is a letter from the chief director of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, and it's to the Chief Director of the Ministry of Local Government and Decentralization, Rural Development, captioned Revocation of Appointment in accordance with the powers vested in His Excellency John Dramani Mahama under the provisions of the Local Governance Act 2016 Act 936 Acts as amended by the Local Government Governance Amendment Act 2017 Act 940. The following appointments have been revoked effective today. The chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, assembly members appointed pursuant to relevant sections of this act. In the interim, the respective coordinating directors of the various MMDAs are directed to assume responsibility as acting chief executives until substantive appointments are duly made. Kindly take note and act accordingly. Signed, Callistus Mahama, PhD, Secretary to the President, copied to the Vice President, the Office of the President, Jubilee House, then the Chief of Staff, the Office of the Jubilee House. So the news is that there has been revocation of appointments. And these individuals or these portfolios, chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, and assembly members appointed pursuant to relevant sections of the Act, have had the appointments revoked. This is a letter signed and released just now by Dr. Callistus Mahama, who is the secretary to the president. Actions are being taken immediately. Issues are happening right here, right on the clock at the office of the president. And this is what the breaking news is that we just got.
So by implication, is there any other response from any official in the office of the president? What actions need to be undertaken to keep the MMDAs running in lieu of the appointments that will be in waiting?
No, just this communication is what we have just had now, and it's come with nothing else apart from this. Whilst on air, this just came in, and we had to just break it. We have confirmed it, and we just had to break it, except to say that there is no other commentary on the matter, except clear decisions being made by His Excellency the President through his appointees, herein the Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama.
All right. So I asked a question about what other issues will be discussed or will be looked at. You take a look at the itinerary of the president.
Yes, like I was saying early on before the president walked in, we had, when the president walked in, we had seen the Afri-Exim Bank boss, Professor Benedict Orama, reappointed as the Afri-Exim boss in 2020. He is the one who is meeting His Excellency the President. I mean, in his acceptance speech somewhere in 2020, he made it quite clear that he won in Africa, where the foundations of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement are laid expeditiously so that 84,000 kilometers of borders that have been divided for ages begin to come down, where trade among countries are respected. My understanding is that, yes, of course, on the campaign trail, John Mahama mentioned quite well the role he expects the AfTA to play. Having him, meeting him on the very first day, in fact, the very first assignment tells a lot the role he intends to play with him as the Afri-Exim boss, and also how it could leverage the businesses, the use of AfTA, and also the businesses, especially the local ones here in Ghana, competing or trying to break into the African market is of much significance to him. I cannot tell for sure if these issues about energy would also come to play in this discussion, the closed-door discussion that is ongoing. As we speak, just after this, he will be meeting the World Bank. He will also be meeting the Commonwealth, among others. These are critical institutions that John Mahama needs. Quite early in the morning, I heard you talk about how he needs to reach out to the Bretton Woods institutions and how some level of confidence and hope should come to play. If this is anything to go by, it appears he doesn't want to give any excuse at all, because the mandate has already been given him, and he has to be seen as working in the interest of the country. We can only wait to see what the outcomes of these meetings would be like, and to what extent, you know, this will have benefits, so to speak, to the ordinary Ghanaian. But trade, very, very important, and also some level of exposure of Ghanaian businesses in the sub-region and on the continent of Africa. Very, very, very key to John Dramani Mahama, who is the President of the Republic.
Ghpage, thank you for the latest update. We can see that a sweaty morning for you, but don't worry, it's part of the reporting skills we've acquired over the period as well. And Dr. Asante-Okyere, so where do we move from here, knowing that this consideration will have to be in? What sort of language should be coming from the Office of the President to ordinary consumers and the Ghanaian people regarding this, knowing that there's a crisis that we could...
I think it's a matter of reassuring all of us that they are on top of their brief. They will have to continuously be transparent with us. It is, you see, sometimes there is a kind of dilemma in a philosophy of knowing and not knowing. You see, when you are there and you don't feel sick, you feel okay. Now, the decision is you go to the hospital and they tell you that there's something hidden. That could kill you. Then suddenly, you start falling sick. So, you see, so which of the two philosophies do we go by? Knowing or not knowing? Knowing will kill you. Not knowing to you are living a life of bliss.
If we didn't know that there was hell, we'll be chilling.
Of course. You see, so the point is that the communication must be apt. Right? The communication must be. Nobody appreciates the idea of staying or sleeping in darkness, the heat. You know, Ghana, perpetually we have a visitation from the sun. So in the evening, you ought to have some kind of light so that, I mean, you don't face that particular heat. It is very discomforting. And so I am really appreciative of what I'm seeing, the pictures that I'm seeing. I think that he's really started well, because I see in him as someone who will always be pinching himself, saying that this is where I've come from. And in his speech, he said that he will not take the electorate vote for granted. Right? And what he's doing now, I think that it is quite reassuring. And he's living by the things that he said.
Okay. Your last words before we go, Solo.
Yes, so I'm very... happy that he's dealing with Afri-Exim, but whether or not he will succeed depends on how well we trade amongst ourselves on the African sub-region. So yesterday, for instance, I was very happy the military.
Please speak boldly. You are known for you are losing steam. Bring him some water.
Bring me some water. So yesterday, I was very happy that even the military dantes or the regimes came to this country. I want to believe that having learned how we change our government, they will also go back and replicate it and then begin to trade amongst ourselves. The business of Africa looking beyond ourselves and trying to do business with Asia, North America, Europe, is not what is going to save us. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area must be actualized. Borderless continent, so that the over 3 trillion value or volumes of business, we can take advantage of it to create employment opportunities for our people. I'm also sad that my brother Clement Opoku Jemfi just lost his job. I don't know whether because he came to TV3 this morning to defend the government a bit. Then all of a sudden, has flight. So what it means is that you are increasing the unemployment rate from 14.74 plus 0.00. But let us also caution some supporters of the National Democratic Congress. Roland, this morning, I understand people have invaded Tema Development Corporation, that all those that were employed during the regime of the MPP must leave. No, you can't do that. You have to follow due process. If they went through the Public Service Commission or they were employed through the normal channel, you cannot take the laws into your own hands and do whatever. So I believe that the Chief of Staff, through this statement, would also do that greatest honor by extending it to other institutions. If you are the boss of, say, or you are the head of, say, the police, and you have to go immediately, you sign it. Chief of Defense Staff, you have to go, you sign it, water, so that everyone is clear, that we know the positions available, that Ghanaians have to reoccupy it for us to move ahead. Now the MMDC, they are all clear in their mind that no one is going to work tomorrow. So that they are like me, they come and then we all begin to treat ourselves very well in opposition. That is what I'll say to you this morning. It's not encouraging at all. Seeing him living here just now with this statement. Or CID got the alert before he left here.
I'm sure. Leave lawyer Clement Jemfi alone.
I'm sure he got that.
It's my brother too. How have you
your last few words.
Let's see what happens by close of day. How we come out of the technical group meeting that they are going to have related to the power crisis that is looming. Let's see what happens by close of day. But on the revocation of the appointments of the MMDC, it is in good place. The coordinating directors of the various assemblies should take charge. I have that maybe in the next few days to come, they should dissolve all boards of state institutions. Chief executive officers of state agencies.
Santos Wale, they were on Tia, like Jimia, Vasaso. The boy Jimia, go with the dada, Unimia, they can folk with 2 for TV. Amount. Hey, May Santos, some code mamba, Nasa me bra, Nasa me passe, me a year short videos, Mamma Niji Guadia. And you baby be more once I'm a cop, Namako head or 2 for TV. Hey, what I've been videos, papa. So I say, oh, now subscribe with 2 for TV, now subscribe. So, and Tampana, not Bomodi, no, I shall link, we shall link, and I know we be no, sorry.